Hello, welcome to a new sewing project. After almost a year of sewing, I'm finally making a corset for myself. The corset I'm making is based on this one in the Harbour Museum. The closest pattern I found was in the Leicestershire Museum site where they have a lot of photos of corset patterns. So I got one and printed it out to measure its actual size. There's a guide on how tall one part should be on the pattern I'm using, so I based it on that before scaling it up to my measurements, but keeping the proportions of the corset. Before starting the actual corset, I quickly made a mock-up just to check the fit. So here I'm preparing the busks and sewing the pieces together. I was wondering if I should still make boning channels for the mock-up, but I'll put some on the seams and the back for some support. I didn't place grommets at the back since this is still the early phase. This is a look. This isn't done. Damn, look at that shape. Now we move on to the real thing. The original corset was made of black sateen with gold flossing, so I have a base layer of coutil and cotton sateen for the fashion fabric and boning channels. I start with cutting out the coutil and sateen, then it's sewn together on the seam lines of the pattern. This will be hidden later by boning channels. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I've finished flatlining the rest of the panels. I've never done any cording before, but I'm just hoping for the best. I sewed in the cording in between the coutil and fashion fabric. The fashion fabric being a lot bigger so I can cut it out later because I don't know how much shrinkage will happen. The cording of the chest area is done on a separate piece, which I learned from Enchanted Rose Costumes corset video.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
The boning channels are made with a 12mm pressing bar. I made a mistake with the front panel and had to add 2 more rows of cording for this one. Okay, quick update where we're at the corset. Here are the side panels, and I'm gonna have to connect the other pieces to the front. I've separated them left and right side. They're all the boning channels. I think I need to prepare the triple bones first. For the triple bones, I'm using an 18 and a 6mm pressing bar. And for the single bones, I'm using a 12mm one. I'm trying to use this as a guide at least. This takes up most of the panel anyway. That should fit 3 of the bones I have. Oh hey, I'm also excited to show you a prop for the next video I want to do. It's a wax burner for seals, because sometimes we need small distractions from bigger projects. Okay, back to it. Then the boning channels are sewn onto the panels. we've run into a problem. This can fit one bone fine. I tried to fit 3 in this one, kept having to undo it. Maybe if I just use 2 here, the back panels, and cut out new boning channels for just the 2 side panels, so it can fit about 3 bones. This is 36 millimeters. So it would fit this piece nicely, but it would eat up the back panel if I did triple bones at the back, because there's also gonna be single bones where these connect. I'll undo this and I'll cut out more bones for this one.
Here I'm taking out the busk from the mock-up so I can reuse it for the real corset. For the front panel, there are 2 layers of coutil, one with the fashion fabric. I'm leaving a gap while sewing for the hook part of the busk to go through. Please let me know if you have any tips on coaxing the fabric to start moving at the start of stitching, if you have a lot of layers. For the back panels, I marked out where the holes of the laces would be and double-checked with one of the washers to make sure it would fit next to the bones at the back. Then it was time to set in the grommets. At this point, all the panels are ready to be sewn together.
The needle just broke. I can't find it. I'm gonna see if I can take it out. Here it is. So I was pinning this boning channel down, and I remembered, wait, there's supposed to be something here. I forgot to add tape! So what's gonna happen is, I'm not gonna redo this. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna sew it behind here. And I'm gonna get it caught by the rest of the boning channels that I haven't finished yet. And then connect it to this piece at the back.
Once the pieces are sewn together, the seams would be covered with a boning channel that catches the waist tape.
Hello, so let's have a quick update. Here I put in the tape. I caught it with some of the boning channels. I missed some, so here it's not connected really. And I just whip stitched it here instead of opening this up and putting it inside. So it's still kind of secure. Finished all the boning channels, and last night I cut up and sanded the rest of the bones. Arranged it back to front according to size. All that's left to do is put it in the boning channels and then cover it with binding.
Then I slip in the bones, which are all cut and rounded, and then add a binding made from the cotton sateen. Here it's pretty much done, but of course, we need to take it up one more level by adding flossing.
I drew out the design based on the pattern. I'm gonna make a small sampler for myself using scrap fabric. And these are some of the gold and more metallic threads I have in my stash. And let's see.
I did get leather lace for the corset, but when it arrived, it was too big and would cover the embroidery, so I'm fine keeping it as is until I find or maybe make a lace for it. Okay, here's a reveal in my style. After about 3-4 months, the corset is done and I'm ready to move on to the next project. Do you have a project in mind that's been on your table or just an idea for a while? Why not start it or do a mock-up for practice? So, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe and I'll see you next time.